and welcome to the Batter Up Podcast, where we swing for the fences in every episode. Today, we are joined by arguably the most decorated collegiate fast pitch softball player of all time. She was named 4-time Women's College World Series All-Tournament Team, 3-time First-Team All-American, 2-time Collegiate Softball Player of the Year, and led the Oklahoma Sooners to back-to-back NCAA championships in 2021 and 2022. That's right. You may have already guessed it by now, but we're joined by the legendary Jocelyn Alo. Jocelyn, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, go ahead and tell everyone a little bit about what it is you do now. I mean, we know that you're a great player. You were a great player. And what is it that you're currently working on?
So I am still playing professionally. I play for the Oklahoma City Spark in the WPF, and what better place to play softball than in Oklahoma again. So definitely excited to be there. And then, yeah, just trying to grow the game of softball, and it's in the 28 Olympics now. So something to look forward to as well.
Saw that. That is tremendous news. Are you going to be on that team?
Yes, I will be.
Yes.
That's like my last thing I need to check off on this list of accomplishments. And that's my last thing I need is a gold medal.
Okay. I love your chances there. Just right off the top, do you know of other countries that might be the biggest competition at those Olympics?
Japan is always our top competition. Just me playing international softball, I've kind of gotten to know the ropes a little bit. Japan's really good. Canada's really good. And probably Mexico too. They always have a pretty good squad going on. So yeah, I think those are our top three.
That's tremendous. I am really excited for that. I remember growing up and watching the Jenny Finches of the world play at the Olympic stage. And it was just, I mean, we get to see the special fast pitch athlete on such a big stage from ESPN at the Women's College World Series. But then it feels like once you guys are done with the college level, we don't get to see you in your prime. And I think the Olympics is going to give us a huge platform to be able to do that and to showcase fast pitch at the highest level. It's like, oh, you're 22 and you're out of college, so bye.
Right.
And so it's huge news. I think it's even being underplayed how big of news that is that came out this week.
We are all super, super excited just as a softball community. And like you said, they're getting to see all of us in our prime now, and I'll be 30. So I feel like that's Coach Gasso said that's right around the time you hit your prime. And
that's perfect.
Playing with Kaylani this summer, she's 32 or something like that. Also had a kid, and she had the best summer ever. And it was so cool to actually play beside her. So yeah, that's awesome. I think I'll be good.
Okay, so everybody out there, mark your calendar, 2028, we're going to get to see Jocelyn on the biggest stage once again, represent Team America. So before we jumped way to the future there. I want to go back to your past real quick to start off. You aren't originally from Oklahoma.
No.
You're originally from?
Originally from Hawaii, born and raised, and then made my way over to Oklahoma. And yeah, I loved growing up in Hawaii. Thankfully, my family is still there, so I actually get to go back a lot. But yep, born and raised in Hawaii.
That's awesome. What was it like growing up as an athlete in Hawaii?
I would say growing up as an athlete in Hawaii, you just kind of always have this chip on your shoulder. There's a lot of really good talent on the island, and I feel like it gets overshadowed with just the bigger states and stuff. But I feel like Hawaii athletes have so much heart, and again, just kind of don't get the opportunities to really show their skills on a bigger stage. But yeah, we have some really, really good athletes there. And I think growing up there and just being an athlete it pushed me a lot. Having to play up a lot and trying to seek out that better competition definitely helped me mature a lot as a player, and just kind of being thrown into playing with the big girls was an experience for sure.
Yeah, I can imagine. Were you taking trips to the mainland? Were you going to California, like with travel ball teams?
Yes. So I started playing travel ball probably. So I would say travel ball in Hawaii, when you consider it to be travel ball, it's like you practice in Hawaii, you play the teams in Hawaii, and then you guys go out to one tournament, probably like Colorado Sparkler or a PGF. But I kind of, as I had gotten better and better and just kept maturing and getting older and getting past the competition in Hawaii, me and my dad kind of looked at each other and was like, okay, how can we be the best? So we both made the decision to join a California organization so that we can get more of that playing time, more facing better competition. And that is essentially who I would be playing at the next level at the Women's College World Series, So it was about my 8th grade, seventh grade year where that was my first summer. We saved up like $10,000 and we rented an apartment in Anaheim that was 2 miles down from our workout facility. So literally we'd wake up, we'd go hit and just like some extra swings before people come in. Then we'd go back, we'd sleep, eat lunch, go back to the facility for like we had our conditioning class and then we had fielding and another hitting session. And then, we'd go back home and we'd have dinner. And literally that was that every weekday, and then weekends, obviously you're playing. But I did that from 7th grade all up until my senior year. Every summer we did that.
Wow. So you were eating, sleeping, breathing, living softball all
Absolutely.
the time.
It was me and my dad all summer, and then my younger sisters would join every now and then. But it was really just me and my dad.
Did your sisters play?
Yeah. So I actually have a sister. She's a freshman now at Portland State.
Okay.
Just dropped her off like a month ago. It was so sad.
Oh.
But and then there's one under her who's a sophomore in high school, and she just won her first state championship. And then I have an older sister, so she didn't play softball in college, but she can make boba and shave ice from scratch. She really knows her way around like baking and all of that.
So she
stuff.
might be the most talented sister.
Probably, yeah.
Because that's a trait that could last a lifetime.
Yes.
Making good boba and shaved ice. So one thing I do know, doing a little research about you, you also wrestled. Is that correct?
I did. I actually wrestled before I played like t-ball or baseball. So
really?
Wrestling was my first sport. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think there's anything that translates from wrestling to softball?
I definitely think the mental toughness had transferred over to softball for me. And then it's just you're a different beast in the weight room when you're training for wrestling versus when you're training for softball. And I felt like I had come off of wrestling. So it was wrestling season, then softball. So I was coming off of wrestling season like super, super strong. And I like was muscling balls out into the outfield that normally years prior, I wouldn't have been able to muscle. But coming off of that wrestling season right into softball, I was very, very strong, super in shape too.
Yeah. So I remember in high school playing baseball, like we would go in as the baseball team to lift weights. And we'd do like little wrist curls on the side as like the football teams like bench pressing and squatting.
Right.
So I definitely know what you mean. And coming from wrestling, that makes a lot of sense that strength and that power translates. And you see it translating your game. I mean, your game is so powerful and so explosive. That makes a ton of sense. And you could see that background. So that's tremendous insight there. Speaking about growing up, sounds like you were always in sports, always athletic. What were some of the athletes or role models that you looked up to growing up with? Sorry.
I would say I looked up a lot to the Misha Sadarakas. She played at UCLA. She was this big hitter, big third baseman, and literally had a gun on her arm. And another person I looked up to a lot was Kiki Carlos, the Tassi Doctors, but besides just the Hawaii athletes, the one person I looked up to the most was Krista Bustos growing up.
Yeah.
And man, she can rake. And I remember when I met her for the first time in person, I was like, whoa. I was starstruck. I just didn't know what to think. And I met her after one of my travel ball games. It was my sophomore year. But I was like, Dad, like, that's Krista Bustos. I'm going to go say hi.
That's speaking of those like Team USA softball teams. I remember her just dominating.
Man,
true power. I mean,
I hear
an unreal
like
hitter.
the stories of her from other people of what they've witnessed, and this one story that I 100% believe. It was like she was playing third base and had gone out for a cut. I guess the ball had gotten past the outfielder, and she literally gunned someone like on a line from left field to home plate. And I was like, I freaking believe it.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, she made just strong in every aspect of the game. Not just a lot of times when we think softball or baseball and we think strong, we think, power hitter. We think just hitting home runs or hitting line drives right off the fence. But strength comes in so many other aspects of the game. And one of those is just like throw a laser, especially in fast pitch. If you're playing third, like any sort of bobble,
gotta have a gun. Yeah.
You need a gun. If you don't have that, it's an error. She's on first. She's on first. That's a great one. And that makes a ton of sense. I see some of her game in your game, I hope you like the comparison there is very real with the softball, the strength and the power and the ability to control the bat through the zone at all levels, all three levels, up, middle, low.
Right. I watched her swing a lot growing up, and whenever like I was in my little slumps, I would literally watch highlights of her and just like be in awe every time.
What do you think about the fact that there are girls out there that feel that same way about you?
It's still crazy. I'm thankful for the position. Very thankful to be a role model and be an influencer, and just someone for girls and boys to look up to. It's still a shock to me sometimes just because I think I'm a normal person who just gets to play softball and just so happens to be super good at it. And people, I guess, like to hear what I say, so it's cool. But I definitely try to keep my image as good as possible, trying to put out that I'm about my business. I am like kind of staying out of trouble for the most part. I don't do anything crazy. I'm a very homebody kind of person. So I don't like to be outside. I like to be inside, cuddled up.
You're incredibly modest. Like you would leave your state for summers at a time to go practice softball the entire summer. Like most kids, when they're not in school, they're just like, oh, I'm going to, sit on the couch and watch some TV and go hang out with my friends. You were literally like traveling across half an ocean to go practice and play softball at a high level. I don't think you just so happened to be good at softball. I think you've worked at that. And I want to emphasize that. I think you definitely have natural gifts, but I mean, come on, you've put in so much work into this, and it's so apparent.
Thank you.
So I want to applaud that, of course. So talk to us. You're going through high school. You're starting to realize, like, whoa, all right, Dad, I'm good at this. Like, I'm good at this. What's it like? You're getting. I don't know your timeline, but maybe talk us through that. Your sophomore year. Your junior year, you guys went state. You're leading them to state. I think I saw you hit like 612 at the state tournament. Something crazy.
Dang.
Yeah. You're starting to get those contacts with high level college softball teams. Talk us through, when did that start happening and what that process looked like?
So my recruiting journey was definitely different. When I was getting recruited, I was actually getting recruited as an 8th grader, and I it was a thing for like the 17, 16, 15 classes to commit when you're a freshman. And when you commit when you're a freshman, it's like, all right, you're done. You already know where you're going to go to school and all of that. So I committed actually to Cal Berkeley my freshman year. And I went all up until my senior year and thought that I was going to go to Cal Berkeley. And I got up until my senior year and had definitely developed as a player and gotten better and better. And kind of my goals had shifted throughout high school of what I wanted out of college softball. And at the end of the day, I just wanted to win a national championship. And I came to my senses with that, I would say my senior year. So I called my coach and I talked to my parents first. And I was like, you guys, I don't think Cal Berkeley is the place for me. Like, I just don't feel 100% in with this. And mind you, when I had made the decision to go to Cal Berkeley, I was 13, you know? So I didn't know what I wanted out of life nor out of college softball. So I talked to my parents and I was like, I don't feel like Cal Berkeley is the right place for me. So I ended up decommitting. And that was scary in itself, decommitting my senior year, because everyone's already looking to sign at this point. You know, I think signing is about 5 or 6 months out. And I called my travel ball coach and I was like, hey, I need you to make a few calls for me. And I decommitted from Cal and this and that, and I want to win a national championship. And he said, okay, I'll make a couple calls. My first call was Auburn, and then my second call was Oklahoma. And they had just come off of winning in 16. In 17, their first national championship, second national championship, actually. And I was like, oh, Dad, I think this is the place. And then me and my dad ended up going for a visit there, and it's September 23rd of 2016.
Okay.
And I'm at Oklahoma, I'm watching them practice, and I looked at my dad and I was like, this is where I need to be. And then Coach Casa brings me in front of the whole team and she's like, do you have something you need to tell us? And I was like, I would be a Sooner. And then everybody's starting to cheer and stuff. But I committed to Oklahoma on my 18th birthday, and I have not looked back since.
Oh, that's tremendous. Watching your face during that story, you could see the emotion of
I know, I was
the Cal. You were committed. I'm sure you had Cal hoodies and your room was decorated and you were ready to go.
My grandparents were 17 minutes from campus too.
Oh,
it was,
my goodness.
Everything was perfect.
Yeah, everything, you can see how everything makes sense for a 13-year-old. And my grandparents are right there. I'm still in California where you're comfortable. You've been, you've gone there in the summers. But then to see your face as you talk through that process and to say, well, I talked to Auburn, but then I talked to Oklahoma. And the glow and the smile.
Oh my gosh.
You can tell the love and the
I love being a Sooner.
That's amazing.
I love being a Sooner.
And 2 national championships probably help with that.
Oh man, it helped a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
But regardless, even if I had not won a national championship there, I am a Sooner through and through, and I will bleed crimson and cream until the day I die.
That's awesome. You made, would you call that your second home then? Norman, 100%. Oklahoma? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a star there. They've got Heisman Trophy winners, but you walk in, they forget about Baker Mayfield. It's you.
Right.
Okay. So I kind of like this process. I think it's really cool to see your story through this. So you commit there on your 18th birthday, you go through your senior season, you fly out, you move into Norman, you go through your first 2 seasons, but you guys come up short. You don't win it your freshman and sophomore seasons. Now your freshman year, you are setting records. You hit 30 home runs your freshman year. People are noticing. I noticed. I remember being like, holy cow, that's wild.
Right.
So you go through those 2 years. You're about to go into your junior year. You guys start the season, but as everyone remembers, that's 2020. I mean, that is March
COVID.
2020. We all have memories and thoughts that we harken back to with just saying March 2020. I mean, is impactful across the world. Your season is cut short, and now everything's in kind of limbo. We come back, and you get another year. So you don't actually lose that college year. You know that you've got 2 more left. Talk to us about that, almost like a redemption tour because I think, was it your sophomore year you guys were runner-up?
Yes.
Yeah. So runner-up sophomore year, go from there.
Yeah. So we're runner-up, and then in COVID year, it was just, we didn't have the player, like we had the players, we had the names, it was just not working. Like it was such a rebuilding year, and it was so different because I felt like we were so young but still so old at the same time, and it was just a lot of different pieces that just weren't clicking. So I think COVID was a blessing in disguise for the Sooners that year, because it was a tough year. We had to deal with a lot of injuries. Like I was playing center field in COVID year, and I am not normally an outfielder. You guys know me for DP. I'm a DP through and through, but I was playing center field. Nonetheless, got the job done. But that's just to put into perspective, like how tough of a year it was. I'm not normally an outfielder nor a center fielder. You know what I'm saying?
Thinking about Oklahoma Sooner softball, that's like usually y'all have a center fielder that is like lightning quick.
A Jada Coleman, you know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes. And
there's a difference between Jada and Jocelyn.
There's a little difference. Yeah.
Right.
I have no doubt that you got the job done. I did, like, looking back at those results, I saw like lost to North Texas, lost to Long Beach State. Like these are the teams that usually that game's over in 5 innings.
Yes.
So there definitely was something amiss.
It was a weird year, but anyway. So we go through COVID, and my COVID was a little bit different. I kind of had lost. Like I was like, all right, softball's done. Like, what's next? What do we do? Am I gonna take this extra year? Am I not? Like, and I just kind of like honestly did nothing over COVID because I was like, I'm not really vibing with softball still. Kind of that sophomore year is still in the back of my head.
Yeah.
And then we come back to school the next year. So it's 21 now. And I come back, I'm unprepared, but I made it through the fall. I gotten back on track to where I needed to be, still going through a couple personal things I had to go through. And I come to season and I'm like, all right, like whatever happens, happens. And I did not have a good fall at all. It was actually a really hard fall for me. So normally, like I felt if I had a good fall, then I'll have a good spring. But I felt like if I had a bad fall, then the start of spring was going to be a little bit shaky. And as I said, I didn't have the best fall. So I came into the spring and I was like, whatever happens, happens. And my first at-bat was against UTEP, and it was a home run to right field, literally like line shot down the line. And I was like, whoo, okay, we're going somewhere.
We're back.
And yeah, we're good. And honestly, after that, I just really had my blinders on, and I was like, the one thing on my mind right now is the national championship, and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. And I'm in my junior year now, so I feel like I'm more of a leader and have matured a lot. I've gone through some stuff, worked through it, came out on top. And then I come my senior year, and I'm like kind of feeling that pressure again, just because I knew the record. The record was there, and it was literally like 8 home runs away. So I could break it within the first like couple weeks, you know, or stuff like that. And then once I had gotten inch closer to breaking the record, I started getting walked, and I was like, man, what the heck?
Oh.
And then, broke the record in Hawaii, and I couldn't imagine breaking it anywhere else. So I'm happy.
Talk to us about that.
It worked out that way.
Did you have a bunch of friends and family there?
Everyone that had not seen me play was there that night, and it was. So let me just set the scene.
Yeah, please.
So we played Minnesota on a Monday, and they ended up not pitching to me. So we flew to Hawaii that Tuesday. Yeah. So Tuesday, and then we had a little bit of a break on Wednesday. So just kind of like getting acclimated to time change and practicing and moving around and whatever. And then we had a little like clinic at the field that I had grown up hitting on. So it was literally in my hometown. And all my cousins showed out for me, and they had signs everywhere. And I've got to send you some pictures because it was super cool.
Oh, I'd love that.
So the field that we played, that me and my dad had practiced on, like we would practice there every night and all up until we had moved out of there. But if you stand on home plate and you look to right center and you probably look 100 yards past those bushes there, was the house that I grew up in. So like that town, obviously me being from there is why I'm so prideful of it. And then the beach across the street was like our family beach. That's where my dad proposed to my mom. That's where my grandpa's ashes are spread. That's where me and my sisters took all of our senior pictures there. Like that beach and that town just means a lot. And they showed out for us, and then ended up playing on Thursday. I didn't break it Thursday. I think I broke it Friday.
They didn't walk you Thursday, did they?
No.
Okay. Like this, I assume this crowd isn't going to let them walk
Thursday
you.
we played Baylor, and they didn't walk me. They were pitching to me, but I was just getting, I think I still went 2 for 3 with like 2 doubles or something.
Oh, ho-hum.
And then,
whatever. Just a
yeah,
regular day.
Just an average day. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we ended up playing Cal Berkeley after that.
No.
And, yeah, they ended up walking me too. So I was like, man, whatever.
Yeah.
And then Friday night we played the University of Hawaii, and I was like, I don't know if they're gonna pitch to me or not. We'll see. And then the girl ended up pitching to me, and I was 3 for 4 I was 2 for 3 coming into my last at bat of the night. And so yeah, come my last at bat, we're like 5 runs ahead, so we're like gonna win the game at this point. So my last at bat, I'm like, all right, just look for something over the plate. Counts 2-0. I see it hard over the middle, and as soon as I make contact, I know it's gone, and that's the record-breaking one. And initially, when I'm running around the bases, I don't really hear nothing. It's just kind of really quiet in my head. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I remember running around it, but I don't remember hearing anything, just because everything was just, I was just trying to soak that moment in for myself, honestly. Yeah. And then I come to home plate. Coach Gasso's call cards up in the air. She's going crazy. The dugout's going crazy. Everyone's going crazy. And then I get mobbed by my team at home plate. And then hugging everyone. I see my parents in the stands. My mom's got mascara down her face. My dad is high-fiving everyone, making his way to her. They're just hugging up, loving up on each other. And yeah, I just kind of take my helmet off. I tip it to my dad and my parents and stuff. And then University of Hawaii coach comes out of the dugout, gives me a lei, and says, congrats, like you're meant for this, and happy you could have done it in the 808 state. And then I get a standing ovation from literally like the state of Hawaii, it felt. But
what a
to
special
set the scene
moment
for everyone there.
Awesome
like
moment.
So I think the University of Hawaii only allowed like 1,500 into the stands, and so that was maxed out at capacity. But there's this parking garage, and it's got 7 levels, so you can like kind of look in and you can see the game being played. And on like from the 4th level up, there was people on every level, and there's like stairs back behind the tennis courts, like way back behind center field. There's people up in those stairwells too, and it was packed out and crazy. And to get a standing ovation from your state and everyone who had never seen me play, every coach that had ever coached me was there, from baseball to softball to wrestling. And it was a very, very special moment. And just happy I could do it in front of my home state.
That is one of the coolest sports stories I have ever heard. I mean,
yeah, it was very cool.
That is one of the most special moments, and to have it happen in Hawaii in front of everybody. Were you all in Hawaii because of you? Like, was that a trip that Patty Gasso had put together for you?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. How
well,
amazing.
She likes to travel to where like majority of the girls are from.
Yeah.
To go and play there. So like obviously me being from Hawaii, she's like, all right, we'll make the trip back there. Like if a girl's from Kansas, we'll go and play in Kansas, Florida, etc. So she likes to go at least throughout that person's career there, where to play in front of their hometown, home state.
Yeah. Was that the one? Did you ever play in Hawaii other than that?
No. Yeah. So
to
Hawaii
do
trips
this,
is really
to break
far.
the record in your one trip back to Hawaii. I mean, that's surreal, Jocelyn. That is like storybook.
Insane. Yeah. No, it really is storybook. And when I tell people the story, they're like, it's crazy how everything was panned out. And I was like, I know, literally storybook.
I mean, it worked out. If COVID doesn't hit in 2020, you probably break the record earlier. Like,
right.
I have goosebumps right now. This is such a cool sports story. When I was doing my research on you, I'm like, oh, she hit it back in Hawaii. That's pretty awesome. And then to hear you set the stage, that is one of the most tremendous things. I mean, you could put that in a movie and people be like, no, that's not realistic.
Yeah, I really think back on my life, and I think it would be such a cool movie.
It would. I would love to see that. Like,
or not even a movie, just like an E60 or something. You know?
It needs to be done. Like somewhere along the line, we need to reach out and try and get that, because I'm sure there's enough documentation that there's at least a short that you could do on it, like a documentary on just that moment. That's awesome. We might have to work with Rawlings to see if they can pull some strings, or see if they can't get something in the works, because that is, I mean, I as a sports guy, you can ask my wife, you can ask my friends. Sports is like everything for me. And I love the history. I love all that stuff. But to hear that single story, I don't mean to make too big of a deal out of it, but I think it deserves it. Like I think that moment
I think it does too.
Is probably one of the most special sports moments I've ever heard.
Right.
That's so cool that you got to live it. And the problem is, because you lived it, it's so big, you probably have it probably went by like a blur.
So fast.
Yeah.
And like
you should have walked the bases. I have
to look back on videos to like kind of remember the moment, just because I was being pulled in every direction after that. Like I don't really kind of remember a lot of it.
Yeah.
But I look back on videos and it kind of brings it back, you know?
That's awesome. That is so cool. I don't even know how to take this on to our next question. I wish we could just like hard stop here and I could just talk to you about this all day. But I do have some other things I want to get to. I think you're tremendous. And gosh, that story is that's so cool. You talk about Patty Gasso. I want you to tell everyone, I mean, she's a legend. She is legendary in everything that she's accomplished. And most specifically, I mean, she has dominated the sport over the last decade or so in a way we've only really seen by like UConn women's basketball. So what is it? Tell us about Patty Gasso, the person, and then I'll ask you a little bit more about her as a coach.
The person, Coach Gasso, the person, she is just a grandma, I would say. She loves the grandma.
Yeah.
Title to her. She loves her grandkids. All of her grandkids are literally park babies. And they grew up around the sport just like their dads did, JT and DJ.
Uh-huh.
And it's so cool just to see them like at the field every day, and like their playground is literally the field, you know? So she loves the title of grandma. She likes to garden. She likes to bake. And she she's just a sweet old lady.
That's awesome.
She's a sweet old lady.
That is. But she's got energy. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I mean, she seems to have energy for days.
She has to have energy. Jojo keeps her on her toes for sure. He's running everywhere. JT's her first grand boy, but yeah, she's a very, very energetic lady. She likes to go on walks too. She would go on walks before games. I'd be coming down for breakfast. She'd be coming back in the hotel, and I'm like, Coach, where'd you just go? She's like, oh, I just went on like a 2-mile walk, whatever. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, we don't play later today. But yeah, she's a super cool chick. I like her.
That's awesome. Okay, now talk to us about Coach Gasso. Is she?
So Coach Gasso,
you get between the lines. Does that grandma kind of wear off and it turns into a little bit more of a competitor?
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah.
She's a huge competitor, and I think a lot of it stems from being a woman in a predominantly you see a lot of like male coaches in the softball side. So she likes being a woman at the top of her game, like always kind of beating the man. You know what I mean?
Oh, she is always beating the man. Like, you look at her record, God. She doesn't lose very much.
No. And the thing is, too, is her players are right there behind her. And I like playing for her and getting to know her and her knowing me. And we've been very, very transparent with each other over the years. And she has seen it all, So she was like, I can help you if you just let me. But Coach Gasso expects a lot out of you, and she expects you to be a businesswoman. She expects you to go to class. She expects you to get good grades. She expects you to be at the front of the class, look like making sure you're taking notes and stuff. You're not at the back just fooling around. She just kind of, the one quote I would say she had always said to us was to keep our houses in order, and she was big on keeping your house in order, and that's just making sure that your grades are good, your personal life is good, the softball side of your life is good, and just kind of having this balance of everything. But yeah, I would say she teaches us. So another thing she says too is when you come in as girls and you leave as women.
Yeah.
And I definitely had felt that transition as I had gone through. I did 5 years there. And I definitely came in as a girl, and I definitely left as a woman. And it's so crazy how she teaches you how to become this woman through softball and through, like, she teaches us life through softball. And the lesson she's taught me is going to be with me forever. And I always go back and I see her, I'll give her a hug, and just kind of always want to keep that relationship and the OU family always in the back of my pocket, just because I'm in debt for what they had done for me. And I know I probably wasn't the easiest to deal with, but nonetheless, came out on top. And I'm a businesswoman now. I'm a professional woman in sports, and just thankful for my journey at OU.
Yeah, that is, I mean, that you see it from the outside, the way that she runs that program and the way that she orchestrates it all. And that's what you love to hear about leaders of, young women and young men. I mean, that's why the position of college coach is such an important one, because it's such a pivotal time. I mean, you are coming from Hawaii. You're coming from thousands of miles away to go to Norman, Oklahoma. Cultural shock. I mean, huge cultural shock. And to have somebody like Patty Gasso that can take the time to invest in players as people, I mean, that translates onto the field, but it's also more than just the field. Because your career, I mean, you're blessed with the career that's going to go on for still another decade plus. Because of professional softball, but you have many former teammates that don't get that opportunity, and they're now just part of the everyday world. So for her to continue to invest in players as women and as people is so important. So you love to hear stories like that, and those are the people you root for. Those are the people like it's not hard for me, even though I am a Kansas Jayhawk, to root for the Oklahoma Sooners at the Women's College World Series because you see that stuff. You see
and
the importance.
Just on top of that, if you're a sports fan, you appreciate excellence.
Yeah.
And you want to see how they dominate year in and year out. And yes, it might get tired. You might get annoyed of hearing it or whatever. But people were not saying this about the UCLAs or the Arizonas whenever they were going through their winning streak. So you just appreciate excellence overall. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And you appreciate what Coach Gasso is bringing year in, year out. You know, she is producing national championships consistently and has been for the past 10 years now, 8 years now, you know?
Yeah.
And like I said, you just appreciate excellence when you see Oklahoma consistently at the top. And I'll fight anybody on that.
And it's something like it's easier to appreciate Tom Brady now that he's not playing. You look back, he annoys you because he wins. I mean, Oklahoma softball can annoy you because you guys are run ruling everybody at the Women's College World Series. Like, it's a dominance, and that's not y'all's fault. Like, just raising the bar of excellence. If you want to compete with us, get up to our level. We're not coming back to you. We're just going to be better and better, and we're going to raise this game and bring this game into a new era.
I was going to say, they're setting the standard. They're setting the standard, and you see it now with the Nebraska volleyballs having their big game. You see it with the Iowa State, the University of Iowa with Caitlin Clark and all of those girls. You see it with the LSU girls, and Oklahoma softball is that for the softball world. They're bringing the game higher and higher. So
I mean, you've got every other high level college softball program wanting to knock off Oklahoma now. So they are having to train, and they're thinking about the Sooners every single day. Like, how are we going to beat them? How are we going to beat them? We're going to be better, and we're going to be better, and it's only going to benefit the sport. I mean, I would argue we just talked about UConn women's basketball. College women's basketball has been elevated now. I mean, other teams like South Carolina had to raise their game.
Yep.
They raised their game to that level. It's not Oklahoma's fault for being great. Like, that's such a lazy way to go about it. I mean, you went there, you raised things, just like Kalani went there and Kalani raised things. I mean, just a dominance. Laura Chamberlain went there. All those greats. Now, just catch up with us. Like, if you want to play with us, you want that championship, take it from us. And
and if you can't beat us, join us.
Yeah, exactly. So now we've talked a little bit. Oh, wait. Before I get to that, why are you number 78?
Oh, so 78 is my dad's football number.
That is awesome. Yeah. I mean, because it
was
obscure
his
one.
uncle's number before that. So, yeah, now all my sisters wear 78, except for in high school because they don't go up to numbers that big.
Yeah.
But, like outside of when we can pick our numbers, we're all picking 78.
Now, I've seen your dad. He's a big guy. So I'm guessing he was a lineman.
Oh, lineman. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially with that number. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So when you went to Oklahoma, were you like, 78? They're like, okay.
Yeah, there was, I'm the first 78 in the program and probably the last 78 in the program.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably girls out there that are wearing 78 because of you, though.
Oh, 100%. I get a lot of DMs of from like moms and softball dads, and they're like, my daughter wears 78 because of you, and it's super cool to see.
That's got to be one of the coolest feelings.
Yeah. Or like the nicknames, they'll say like Little Alo or something. Like, it's funny. It's cute.
That is adorable.
Yeah.
So we've talked about one of your 122 career home runs. Talk to us about another one that stands out. Maybe not that record-setting one, but another one that stands out that you just remember. Maybe it was a big one at the Women's College World Series, a walk-off. What's one, maybe your first ever? I don't know. What's one that stands out in your mind?
It wasn't a walk-off home run, but I would say in 21, I think it was like 80, home run number 80, 88 or 87. No, it was 87. Yeah. We were down 2-1 in the top of the 6th, playing Florida State. And I was kind of on this pitcher all day, and I had at bat before that, I had hit a line drive right back at her shin. It was Kat Sandercock, and we actually got to laugh about this later, me and Kat together. So we're good.
Okay.
Yeah. And we're good friends too. So it's all good. All love.
Okay.
And I hit one back at her shin, and it was a hard hit. It was super hard.
Yeah.
And I got to first, and I had whispered to Sid, who was the first base coach at the time, Sidney Romero. And I was like, Sid, dude, if I get under that, my next at bat, like, it's out of here. It's gone. And so it's my next at bat. We're at top of the 6th. Tiara gets on, leadoff single, beats it out to first base. And then it's 2-0 for me. I guess 2-0 is like my favorite count because that's when my big home runs come. But
I wouldn't pitch to you 2-0. I would just be like, that's it. Okay, we're 2-0. We're just gonna walk.
The thing is, it was a good pitch actually. I just had gotten to the ball. So it was 2-0, and I told myself right before that, I was like, get a little bit more under it. And I got under it, and right off of the bat, I knew it was gone. So we're ahead now 3-2. And after that, the floodgates just opened, and score ended up being 6-2 after that. And then we get our 3 outs. Our last 6 outs, and then we win game 2, and they had beat us in game 1, so our backs were up against the wall. And then we beat them game 2. So
you all had like 6 outs left in your like season, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's a huge one then.
Huge.
Okay.
And come back the next day, we win game 3, 5-1.
Okay.
And then we're natty champs after that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's 21, so you still hadn't won one yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my first one, it was super sweet. Yeah. My first one was super sweet.
That's awesome.
I felt like I owned the town of Norman, Oklahoma the night after that.
You did.
I was like, nobody could tell me anything.
I guarantee
I'm doing
you
whatever
did.
I want.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know those Sooner fans, they are diehard. To have that tournament in y'all's backyard as well is even bigger. I mean, you've got that whole collection of following that's there. I imagine that was pretty surreal.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
It was.
So that's one of the biggest ones. What do you think the furthest home run you've ever hit is?
Furthest home run I ever hit was probably Alabama, and that was my sophomore year, and it was an elimination game too, actually.
Really? You were like clearing the stadium? Because I've seen some of your home runs.
Yeah,
and
I cleared the stadium. So it was my 3rd at bat of the night, and this pitcher's had my number all night, and I struck out twice before that, and I come into my 3rd at bat, and I'm like, look, turn and burn, dude. Just turn and burn. And I think that home run probably went like at most 350. But since it went out of the stadium at World Series, and the slow pitch fence is 320 at center field, and it went dead center like moonshot. And so nobody really saw where it landed, but I'm going to say like 350.
If nobody saw, you could say whatever you want.
Right.
And now,
okay, 400.
There it is. There it is. We were waiting for it. So we're Just Bats. We're a bat company. Could you tell us the bat you were swinging in college?
My Rawlings bat. I was swinging. My first time actually swinging Rawlings was in college, and I had swung DeMarini before that, just because that's what my travel ball team was sponsored by.
Yep.
And I swung a Rawlings. It was the Quattro. It was the Quattro 2. So it was the green, that was like lime green and navy blue and white. That one.
Yep.
That bat was hot.
But now you have an even hotter bat, right?
Oh man, it's the Jocelyn Alo Mantra Plus Pro. So literally my signature bat, I get to swing the Jocelyn Alo bat. It's still insane to me. It's insane that I get to even hold it in my hands and other people get to hold it in my hands, let alone like having my own bat is just crazy.
You just did my job for me. I was going to set it up for you and be like, oh, tell us about your bat. But you just you just went right into that mode.
Into it.
Yeah. And it's, and the one of my favorite parts about that bat, obviously the performance is amazing. The Mantra Plus, but it has you in it. Talk to us about that process. Like it has your aesthetic. It has your signature.
Man, literally it's the bat of my dreams. It has everything that I stand for as a person and personal values. So just to tell you like the story of my bat. So it was a no doubter in my head that it was going to be purple. Purple's my favorite color. But I had also modeled it after the first bat that my dad had ever got me, and it was the Easton Stealth. And I think it was that 2008 bat. So it was like a hot commodity at the time. So I had kind of modeled it after that one, and that was my favorite one growing up. And so it's purple and white, obviously modeling it after that. And also inside it has my tattoos encrypted in the bat. And so my tattoos and what they stand for is I have the Alo, obviously, and I have that big on my thigh, and it's my last name, obviously. But I feel like in the Polynesian culture, it just tells a lot about your story and where you come from. So being from Hawaii, and then there's like 6 things on it, and that's for each member of my family. So my dad, me, all 4 of us, my sisters, and it just means that we're like honest, we're respectful people, and I just feel like the Polynesian culture just has so much spirituality in it and religion, and your family always comes first, God comes first, and just to be a Polynesian is very, very prideful, and to be Samoan and all of that stuff. So a lot of that is tied into my bat. And then, so there's mantras on it as well. And couple of the mantras is to be a hitter. And that's something that my dad always yelled at me. Like I can literally hear it, my 12-year-old self in the box. It's be a hitter, be a hitter. And then another one is you are loved, you are worthy, you are enough. And I have that on the bat, and it's just mantras that I say to myself every morning when I wake up. But I want girls to look at the bat and know that softball does not define them, and that I want them to just enjoy the sport of softball for what it is, and don't get so caught up in the outcomes of things. Yeah. So you're loved, you're worthy, you're enough, even if you don't get the hit, and even if you get the hit. And then the last thing on it is my angel numbers, and it's 777. And that's just you're at the right place at the right time.
That is so cool. That is so cool. I am so impressed by you as a person. I came onto this podcast expecting to talk to a fast pitch softball player that is incredibly decorated, has accomplished everything you can imagine under the sun that her generation can, and eventually an Olympic gold medal in 2028. Mm-hmm. But getting to talk to you and getting to see, peel back the curtain a little bit, I am so impressed with you as a person and you as a woman. And I just want to congratulate you on everything that you've done, but also everything that you've become. You are absolutely a stand-up role model for young girl athletes and boy athletes. We don't have to do one or the other. To look up to you and to see the vulnerability. I mean, you've been through things, you've gone through things, but that doesn't define you, and that hasn't put you astray. I just want to applaud you, and I want to thank you so much for all the hard work that you've done and everything that you do that has such a meaning and a purpose behind it, because we go through a lot of this and we play these sports and we just think, oh man, I went 0 for 3 today and I struck out twice. I made an error in the field and I did this, and we let that as ball players define as who we are, but that is not the case at all with you. And I think you're a great example of that. And so I just want to take a second and really applaud you and the growth that you've had throughout your career and all the things that you're going to do. Jocelyn, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. I hope this isn't the last time we get to talk.
No, it's definitely not.
Because I would love to continue to showcase who you are and get you out into the world, because more people need to hear you. More people need to know your story and to see exactly what it is and what it's like to be a high-level athlete, but to still go through the same life that every other person has to.
Right.
So thank you so much. Anyone else out there, if you're looking to get a hold of Jocelyn or you're looking to follow her, Jocelyn, why don't you go ahead and plug some of your social?
My Instagram is JocyGirl78, so JocyGurl78. And my Twitter is 78Jocelyn_Alo. And then my TikTok is just Jocelyn Alo. So
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Be sure to follow her. I saw that you did a little vlog the other day of the Texas State Fair.
Yeah, me and my boyfriend went and we had a blast eating. It was great.
Are you going to vlog a little bit more going forward?
I do. I want to just tap into more of the social media side of things and just kind of share what I like to do outside of softball, which I think is another part of my life that I am ready to share now. So yeah, I'll be vlogging a whole lot more now.
Well, make sure to tune in. It's going to be exciting.
Yes.
Jocelyn, thank you so much. We appreciate you for coming on, and hopefully we'll get you back on here soon.
Yes. Thank you. Boomer.